Welcome back to Hidden Africa History, the place where we pull back the curtain on the stories that schoolbooks conveniently forget. Today, we're tackling something massive: 5 forgotten African empires that changed the world, Untold Shocking Stories, 2025. Can you imagine sprawling kingdoms that amassed fortunes bigger than today's tech billionaires, built cities of stone that left explorers scratching their heads, and commanded trade networks that influenced the entire globe? And yet, these powerhouses have been shoved into the shadows of history. Did you know the Mali Empire had a king so wealthy that his generosity tanked the economy of an entire region? Or that Great Zimbabwe's massive walls hide secrets that still puzzle experts centuries later? These aren't tall tales, they're real, documented history that got buried under colonialism and time. In this video, we'll journey through Mali's golden era, Songhai's unstoppable trade dominance, the enigmas of Great Zimbabwe, Aksum's pioneering Christian might, and Mutapa's glittering gold legacy. Here's a shocker to kick things off: these empires controlled resources like gold and ivory that fueled global economies, yet most folks know more about ancient Rome or Greece than Africa's giants. If that doesn't hook you, wait till you hear the details. Hit that like button if you're ready for some mind-blowing revelations, subscribe so you don't miss out on more untold gems, and let's jump right in. Trust me, by the end, you'll see Africa in a whole new light. Let's kick off with the Mali Empire, a West African juggernaut that dominated from the 13th to the 16th century. It all started with Sundiata Keita, a legendary figure who rose from exile to unite the Mandinka clans and crushed the Aksum Kingdom at the Battle of Kirina in 1235. Sundiata wasn't just a warrior, he was a visionary who laid the foundation for one of Africa's most influential states, stretching from the Atlantic coast to the Sahara Desert. Picture a land where rivers like the Niger provided fertile grounds for farming, and trade caravans crisscrossed the sands, carrying goods that made Mali the envy of the world. At the heart of Mali's glory was Timbuktu, a city that became synonymous with wealth and wisdom. It wasn't just a marketplace, it was a center of Islamic learning, with libraries bursting with manuscripts on astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. But the real showstopper was Mansa Musa, who ruled from 1312 to 1337. This guy was no ordinary king. He's often called the richest person in history, with a fortune that would make modern billionaires look like pocket change. Estimates put his wealth at around $400 billion in today's terms, dwarfing even Elon Musk's net worth. Here's the shocking part: during his famous Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324, Musa traveled with a caravan of 60,000 people, including 12,000 slaves dressed in Persian silk and 80 camels loaded with gold dust. He gave away so much gold along the way, especially in Cairo, that it caused massive inflation, crashing the local economy for over a decade. Can you imagine a leader so generous that his kindness disrupts markets across continents? This pilgrimage didn't just showcase Mali's riches, it put Africa on the map for European cartographers, who started including Timbuktu in their atlases. Mali's economy thrived on gold mines in regions like Bambouk and Bure, salt from the Sahara, and agricultural surpluses along the Niger. Kings like Musa invested in infrastructure, building grand mosques like the Jingarebe in Timbuktu, which still stands today as a UNESCO site. But there's a mystery here too: what happened to Abu Bakr II, Musa's predecessor? Legends say he launched a fleet of 200 ships to explore the Atlantic, possibly reaching the Americas centuries before Columbus. No concrete evidence, but ocean currents suggest it's possible, adding another layer to Mali's untold adventures. So why was Mali forgotten? Colonial powers downplayed African achievements, focusing on European narratives. Oral traditions from griots, storytellers who preserved history through songs, were dismissed as myths. But in 2025, with new archaeological digs and digital archives, Mali's story is resurfacing, inspiring a new generation to celebrate Africa's intellectual and economic golden age. It's a reminder that wealth isn't just about money, it's about building legacies that last. Now, let's turn to the Songhai Empire, which picked up where Mali left off and became Africa's largest ever state in the 15th and 16th centuries. Centered on the city of Gao, Songhai exploded under leaders like Sunni Ali Br, a warrior king who blended military genius with a touch of mysticism. He conquered Timbuktu in 1468, absorbing Mali's remnants and stretching Songhai from the Atlantic in Senegal to the deserts of Nigeria. At its peak, it was bigger than modern-day Europe, a testament to African ambition. Songhai's secret weapon. Its mastery of trade. Controlling the trans-Saharan routes, it dealt in gold from the south, salt from the north, and everything in between, cola nuts, slaves, leather, and even ostrich feathers. The empire's army, 200,000 strong, was unstoppable, patrolling the Niger River with fleets of canoes and using innovative tactics like iron-tipped arrows and war canoes. But it was Askia Muhammad, who took the throne in 1493 after a coup, that elevated Songhai to new heights. He went on a hajj rivaling Mansa Musa's, but focused on governance, dividing the empire into provinces with appointed governors and establishing a bureaucracy that rivaled any in the world. Shocking fact, Timbuktu under Songhai was an intellectual powerhouse, with Sankore University hosting 25,000 students, more than the population of many European towns at the time. Scholars from across the Muslim world flocked there to study law, medicine, and astronomy. The empire's wealth came from taxes on trade caravans, making Gao a cosmopolitan melting pot where Berbers, Arabs, and sub-Saharan Africans mingled. But Songhai's story has its dark sides and mysteries. Sunni Ali was known as a tyrant who blended Islam with traditional animist beliefs, sometimes clashing with Muslim scholars. Mystery lingers over how Songhai unified such diverse ethnic groups, Fulani, Tuareg, Mandinka, through a mix of force and diplomacy. Its fall came in 1591 when Moroccan invaders, armed with muskets, defeated Songhai at the Battle of Tondabai, ending West Africa's Golden Age. Why forgotten? The destruction of Timbuktu's libraries by invaders scattered knowledge, and European histories ignored African states. In 2025, however, Songhai's legacy lives in movements to restore African education systems, reminding us of a time when Africa was the center of learning. Heading south now to Great Zimbabwe, a marvel that flourished from the 11th to the 15th century in what is now Zimbabwe. Built by the Shona people, this wasn't a small village, it was a sophisticated city-state with massive stone enclosures that housed up to 18,000 people. The name Zimbabwe means houses of stone in Shona, and the site's great enclosure, with walls 5 meters thick and 11 meters high, was likely a royal palace or ceremonial center. No mortar was used, the stones fit perfectly through skilled masonry, a technique that still amazes engineers today. Shocking fact, when European explorers like Portuguese traders and later Cecil Rhodes stumbled upon it in the 19th century, they refused to believe Africans built it. They spun tales of Phoenicians, Arabs, or even King Solomon's mines, denying Shona ingenuity. But archaeology proves otherwise. The soapstone bird carvings, now Zimbabwe's national symbol, are distinctly African, and the site was a hub for gold and ivory trade with the Swahili coast, reaching as far as China, porcelain shards found in ruins. The empire's economy thrived on cattle herding, agriculture, and mining, exporting goods via Indian Ocean networks. Kings known as Mambo ruled with sacral authority, blending politics and religion. Viral element, the site's conical towers and curved walls have inspired modern architecture, and its bird statues appear on Zimbabwe's flag. But why was it abandoned? Theories point to overfarming depleting the soil, drought, or shifting trade routes to the north. Mystery abounds. Were the enclosures for defense or ceremony? Recent digs in 2025 used drone tech to reveal hidden structures, fueling debates. Forgotten because colonial narratives claimed Africans couldn't build such wonders, but UNESCO recognition since 1986 has brought it back to light. In 2025, Great Zimbabwe stands as a symbol of African resilience, challenging stereotypes and inspiring pride across the continent. Aksum, thriving from the 1st century BCE to the 7th century AD in northern Ethiopia, wasn't merely a kingdom, it was a world power on par with Rome, Persia, and China. Its strategic location on the Red Sea made it a trade nexus, exporting ivory, gold, and frankincense while importing silk from China and wine from the Mediterranean. The port of Adulis buzzed with ships, and Aksum even supplied elephants for Roman armies, showcasing its far-reaching influence. Shocking fact, Aksum was the first African empire to mint its own gold coins, predating many European mints, and after King Ezana's conversion in 330 AD, those coins feature crosses, marking it as one of the earliest Christian nations. Ezana's reign was legendary. He etched his victories on massive stelae, some over 100 feet tall, still standing today as UNESCO wonders. These inscriptions, in Guizi, Greek, and Sabaean, detail conquests like his invasion of the Kingdom of Kush in Nubia. But the real viral legend is the Ark of the Covenant. Ethiopian tradition says Queen of Sheba's son, Menelik, brought it from Jerusalem, and it's guarded in Aksum's Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion to this day, with a lone monk as its protector. No one has seen it for centuries, fueling endless mysteries. Is it the real Ark or a symbol? Aksum's navy dominated the Red Sea, invading Arabia in the 6th century to protect Christian communities, leaving rock inscriptions that archaeologists study in 2025 with drone tech. The empire's wealth funded rock-hewn churches and obelisks that rivaled Egypt's pyramids. Frumentius, a Syrian missionary, sparked the Christian shift, becoming Aksum's first bishop. Mystery shrouds its decline. Was it climate change drying up trade routes, or the rise of Islamic powers cutting off access? Excavations reveal underground tombs and lost ports, hinting at even more secrets. Forgotten amid shifts in global power, Aksum's legacy lives in Ethiopia's Orthodox Church and its enduring cultural pride. In 2025, with tourism booming to 500,000 visitors annually, Aksum reminds us of Africa's early global role, tying back to our previous exploration of its sacred art mysteries. It's a story that challenges what we think we know about ancient civilizations. Mutapa, emerging in the 15th century from the ashes of Great Zimbabwe, was a Shona powerhouse in modern-day Zimbabwe and Mozambique, lasting until the 17th century. Founded by Nyatsimba Mutoda, who migrated north seeking new lands, Mutapa, meaning Lord of Ravaged Lands, controlled vast territories rich in gold mines like those in the Zambezi Valley. Its kings, known as Mwene Mutapa, ruled with divine authority, blending politics, religion, and trade. Shocking fact, Mutapa's gold trade extended to India and Oman, with artifacts like finely crafted jewelry found in distant ports, proving Africa's global connections. Portuguese explorers, arriving in the 16th century, dubbed it Africa's El Dorado for its riches, but Mutapa wasn't easy prey. They faced fierce resistance, with Mwene Mutapa's armies using guerrilla tactics in dense forests and rivers. Viral element, the empire's metallurgy was advanced, producing gold ornaments and copper tools that stunned Europeans, who tried to monopolize the trade but often failed. The economy thrived on mining, agriculture, and cattle herding, exporting gold, ivory, and slaves via the Indian Ocean. Kings like Gatsi Ruzra expanded Mutapa through alliances and conquests, creating a centralized state with tributary kingdoms. Mystery surrounds its peak. How did Mutapa integrate diverse ethnic groups like the Karana and Tavara? Oral traditions speak of spiritual leaders consulting ancestors, but Portuguese chronicles provide biased glimpses. The empire's decline came from internal rebellions, overmining depleting resources, and relentless Portuguese pressure, culminating in the 1693 Changamire rebellion that splintered Mutapa. Why forgotten? European records dominated narratives, portraying Mutapa as primitive despite its sophistication. In 2025, new excavations using satellite imaging reveal lost gold mines and settlements, reviving Mutapa's story as a symbol of African resistance. It ties into broader themes of pre-colonial Africa, showing how empires like this laid the foundation for modern nations. These 5 empires, Mali, Songhai, Great Zimbabwe, Aksum, and Mutapa, aren't just chapters in a dusty history book. They prove Africa was a global beacon of innovation, wealth, and culture long before the world caught up. Mali's Mansa Musa, richer than any billionaire today, built universities that rivaled Europe's. Songhai's Sankor had 25,000 students when Oxford was just a village. Great Zimbabwe's stone walls, built without mortar, stunned colonizers who couldn't believe Africans created such marvels. Aksum's Christian legacy and naval power shaped the Red Sea, while Mutapa's gold reached Asia, defying Portuguese greed. So why were these giants forgotten? Colonial powers called Africa a dark continent, erasing its brilliance to justify exploitation. They sidelined oral traditions from griots, dismissed Timbuktu's manuscripts as folklore, and claimed Great Zimbabwe wasn't African-built. Shocking truth, these empires outshone Europe in trade, scholarship, and power, yet schoolbooks barely mention them, focusing on Western narratives instead. But in 2025, that's changing. African youth are reclaiming their past, remixing Mali's griot tales into viral TikTok tracks and demanding these stories in global curricula. From Lagos to the diaspora in London and New York, hashtags like #AfricanPride trend as millions rediscover their roots through apps, documentaries, and online communities. Archaeologists in 2025 are unearthing new artifacts, Mali's gold weights in Cairo markets, Mutapa's jewelry in Oman ports, Aksum's inscriptions in Arabia, proving these empires reach extended far beyond Africa. UNESCO sites like Great Zimbabwe and Timbuktu draw over 1 million tourists yearly, boosting Africa's cultural economy and sparking ecotourism initiatives. These empires aren't just history, they're a call to action. Imagine schools teaching Mansa Musa alongside Caesar, or Mutapa's resistance with the Battle of Thermopylae. This is Africa's Renaissance, a movement where forgotten stories fuel modern pride and innovation. Think about it, if these empires could thrive against all odds, what can't we achieve today? Which empire blew your mind the most, Mali's wealth, Great Zimbabwe's mystery, or Aksum's faith? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss. If you're as shocked as I am, hit that like button, it helps spread these stories to more people. Share this video with friends to spark a conversation about Africa's true past. And don't forget to subscribe to @Hidden Africa History 2 for more untold African epics. Next up, we're exploring Africa's lost technologies that shaped the world. Let's make Africa's history go viral in 2025. Peace out, History fam, and remember, the past is powerful when we own it.